Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Valagar Aloevain. Alright, so for this video, we are back in House Beneath, just behind the Anvil Fire Inn right here. And we're going to be doing a quest that most people hate, but honestly, it's not that bad of a quest once you know the path to take. And that's what I'm here to help with. Okay, so the quest itself is called The Pit. And it is phenomenal experience. Now, you will note that at the top it does state that you do requires 3 or more players. Hirelings may not suffice. You can actually do this solo, and I will show you how, as well as, how to go through the not only the quest and navigating, but the how to do the rooms as well. So first off, I am going to summon a hireling, as even solo, you do still need a hireling um, in order to make it a lot easier. Now the quest itself, as you see, the map it starts off already explored. What it is supposed to be like a piece of paper. Here's the layout of the quest. Unfortunately, what it doesn't show, and I'll get to that right here, is this giant room here where it just goes up and down and up and down. So you might not know what level your room is supposed to be on. Now, I do have a path that really does simplify which direction you are supposed to go. And I'll get to that in a moment. So what I do recommend having for sure in this quest is some form of feather falling. So we have our feather falling ring of greater false life. And it does have a small guild augment. Now those are like an extinct item at this point. Still really useful, but they no longer drop with the guild augments. Alright, so the first thing here is we walk up to the ramp, and we want to hop down just one level to here. So that's the first step. Then we just go all the way up. Just follow the ramp. And I am going to make the directions as simple as possible.
Engraving on the wall reads, "To the main breaker room."
Alright, when you get here, you want to pull this valve as quickly as possible, as what it does is it rotates, it fires an acid jet here, then back here, and it just keeps going. But if you run up to the top, generally you have enough time to pull this before this jet goes off and actually hits you. From here, from this point, we want to go right and continue heading up the ramp into our first room, which is right here.
An engraving on the wall reads,
Now this one has 9 levers. There's 3 in the center, 3 off to the left, 3 off to the right. As well, if you can see that little like sewer grate there and the sewer grate there, you will have troglodytes spawning out of there, as well as oozes dropping down in the center. So as an arty, what I like to do is run up to about that middle lever and drop a turret, and then fight off the rest of the ooze, and then I'll go back and start working on the breakables and everything else before the troglodytes themselves spawn in. So the trick to this one is, so before we touch any of the levers, the trick is you want to hit it in the shape of an X. So you need the 4 corners, and then the very, very center one. Alright, so here comes the troglodytes, which have, all but one anyway, decided to aggro onto the turret. So we'll start pulling these levers, so we need the corners. and then the very center one. And that will
When
light
the
up
moon
all of
lights,
these.
the room shutters, and the backup
And
generator
from
rumbles
here,
to life.
we just want to exit. Alright. Now the direction we want to go is right here. See how it's got these three, these are the furnaces here. These three giant square rooms. Now the way to get into them is just down towards the bottom. So we will be jumping down to this spot a lot. This is why I did recommend to have feather fall. So you just kind of want to aim towards the bottom right hand corner of this kind of square here. And fall down. From here, it does have three lights. These are which ones are still closed, so right ahead of us and off to the right are still closed. The one to our left is open. It's yellow, which means it's open. Green is completed. So it's not completed, but it is open. Another thing to point out, because this is a little bit of a longer quest, I probably will only be doing the one video today. As well, I do have some real life stuff I need to get done. So I'm gonna see how much, like how long it actually takes us to get through this. Depending on that is whether or not I'll be able to do a second video. But it's safe to say, like, we're level 9 now. There is some big experience to get at level 9. This quest in particular, like as you see, we don't have any bonuses yet, and we're already at almost 32,000 experience. Alright, so once we've killed the guys on the bottom, there are a couple of guys that we can sometimes shoot based on where they spawn in from the bottom here. As well, we want to make sure that we get this valve on the very bottom and that it lights up this. Now, each of the three furnaces will have a valve somewhere in the bottom that is attributed to a crystal. And what that does is once all three are pulled, it opens up an optional that we can get to, again, once we get to that third furnace. Most people, myself included, actually wait to do that until the very end of the quest, which is when I will get to that one. Simply because it's a long way down and it's very out of the way, so it's easier to do it at the end rather than having to partially do it and then come back and then yeah. Alright, so once you get up to the ramp where you start seeing these acid jets, if you cross this barrier here, you can pull a valve, shutting that off, allowing you to easily progress forward. And same thing here as well, though there's acid jet there, it's just an air jet here. So if we walk up to it, either jump over or wait for it to stop to get across, and then pull this valve, it will shut those off as well. Alright, so from here, if you hadn't killed that guy at the bottom, you can now see him and be able to shoot him here. I do want to point out there will be another one spawning in. So from here, we can hop onto this pipe and then down to these pipes. As we approach, that's when he's going to spawn. So sometimes I just walk halfway, let him spawn in, shoot him, then continue. Now if you have the jump, you can jump straight up, or you can just land here. Either way, not a big deal. Alright, so let's continue up. And we get to this part. Now again, same thing, if you don't have the jump to make that, or don't know if you have the jump, hop on the pipe here. Have a little roundabout which can get you right here, and then across. If you have the jump, you can just jump right across. Oh, fire alley saw us. Now these fire alleys in here, they do count as kills. So as you see, we just got a kill from him. However, they respawn, and they constantly and endlessly respawn until we get to the top and pull our valve. This is actually how, if you are interested, but this is how you get Conquest. Now, you do gotta sit there for a while. There are a few spots that respawn, the furnaces being one of them, and I'll get to that a little bit later at what my method is if I end up going for it. Alright, so from here you want to hop up and over and then go straight across. Again, we're going to have enemies spawning in. Now this is where it gets a little bit trickier. If you don't have the jump, you got to jump and land on that pillar there and then up and over. We have the jump, so I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to jump straight across. Alright, so there's another fire alley dead. And here we go. What this does is it creates a bubble around the fire alley spawns, which then pushes their, like as they said, their essence into the giant furnaces. From this point, you are actually done in the furnace room. However, there is a little extra room that we can attempt to get to, which is just up there. So to do that, we're going to hop on the pipe. We're going to want to jump across and walk across here. Now this again is where it gets a little tricky. So I like that this is the optional part, was where it gets tricky. I don't know if you can see it, but there is a little pillar jutting out right here. They are fairly hard to see. What I recommend is kind of pointing your camera down when you jump. It'll be easier to land on it, or just start with your camera down. I prefer to start this and just pan it down as I'm going. But yeah, you gotta land on the pillar here. From here you can jump over. And this is another sketchy spot. As you've probably seen in a few of the videos, or even maybe experienced yourself, sometimes when climbing the ladder, it just doesn't want to like latch you on, so you just constantly you're falling down. Well, if that happens, you fall down. As you see, there is nothing below the ladder. So luckily, that never happened. Alright, up in top here, there's a bunch of exploding barrels. Now these ones, I don't know if they ever got the sound working to these, but when they blow up, they have no sound. That bomb exploding, that's my rune arm. But that one had a sound. So I don't know what's up with the sound file on that, but they don't make a sound. As soon as we pull this valve, there's going to be an ooze that drops down in the center. It is a gray ooze. You can either choose to kill it or ignore it. I just kill it because I can prepare for it. Once we pull that valve, that actually opens up a shrine room right here. And once you pull that, there's nothing left. You can exit this room. And in the shrine room here, not only is it shrines and a collectible, but a chest. So we'll stop and grab that. Ooh, portable hole, burgundy dye. Wow, lucky day. Alright. So now that we've got... So the three main things that I recommend getting in this room, two more than three, but it's the valve at the bottom. Then we need to pull the valve at the top to trap the fire elementals in. So those are the two main things. So there's the only two quote-unquote required things. And then there's the third one, which is just up here to head up higher and pull that valve opening up the shrine. Once you've done either two or three of those things, feel free to leave and make your way back to the main room here. So just up and around to the ramp. Now, my trick for making this easy is super simple. So once you leave the first room, which we just did, we left the first furnace, we want to cross over at the center. The second time, we do not cross over. And then the third time, again, we cross over. Now what that means is, as we're going up, there will be a part where we can cross over.
An engraving on the wall reads,
So we're going up, and here we are. So we can either keep going up, or we can cross over. And when you cross over, you want to keep going up. Up is the direction we need to go all 3 times. It's just whether or not you go up from this side or up from this side. So after the first furnace, you want to cross over. Second furnace, you don't cross over. And then third furnace, you cross over. So it goes cross, not cross, cross. Super simple. And then each time you just head up until you find the open room and get the plaque stating for which room you need to go in. So here we are. Now, the enemies in this quest, there really aren't a lot, though in some of these rooms, this one in particular, it can get a little bit hairy. So there are enemies down there that spawn in once we go down. There's also a lot of casters along this walkway, so what I am going to be doing, I'm going to be giving myself a freedom of movement. They really like casting holds, and I'd rather just not deal with that. They also have a lot of these rune wheels, which generally I'll just grab as I'm going, but I'm going to wait till the end to explain them. Just kind of clearing everything first. There's also a lot of spellcasters, so you know what? I should also give myself a magic missile protection as well, as they like casting that spell and our hold monster. Alright, so all that's left is these guys down here. They also have a bunch of eggs, which I recommend breaking them all. Each one counts not only for towards the optional, but they also count as a breakable as well. Alright, now as we approach kind of the center here where we would have come down the stairs, that's where it spawns in these enemies. Alright, so now once that's done, towards the bottom here, we also have a grate which is full of water, or a tunnel full of water. If we swim down the tunnel, we actually have another chest. If I swim close enough to it. Just a short little swim, so don't worry too much about your breath. Alright, so now with the rune wheels. Throughout this room, there are these little plaques. On them, it does show what symbol you are supposed to turn these runes to. So the purple one is this weird little F. And that's the way you're supposed to go. So somewhere in this room, there's one there. There's one up top underneath that staircase. So they're in this room. They are always the same. Some people memorize the amount of turns you need. I memorize the symbols. There's one there. And the reason I choose to memorize the symbols is the the amount of turns is great until you have two people do them. So like I had turn that 3 times. Someone comes in and turns it again 3 times, not realizing. Now all of a sudden, no one knows what they're supposed to be. Whereas, like I said, I just memorized not how many turns, but what symbols I need. Alright, so once we finish these up, so this one's all the way around. Another thing to note is each one is turned to a different symbol. So for example, if you saw one like there was orange, it was H. So H has already been used. We don't use that one again. This was used at the bottom. We don't use that one again. That was purple. Don't use it. And go on so forth. So if you're seeing any ones with doubles, it means one of them or both of them are wrong, but at least one of them. Once we've turned them all to the correct location, you will get that DM narration popping up. And that's just to let you know that the barrier around this lever is down and that we can now pull it. Once the lever is pulled, this room is completed. We can exit. So again, we want to leave towards the center room where all the spiralness is. Right here, and then we want to aim towards that corner again, that bottom right corner. Here we go. Now, because we've armed the traps, as you hear from behind us, the traps are now active. And basically they come out of these little red spirals, or these little red traps, which do follow the path of the ramp. Now, these are undisableable, and honestly, they don't hit too terribly hard, but you gotta watch yourself because if you are getting hit, um, you know, if something's not hitting hard, that's nice, but enough of them will still leave its mark. Alright, here. So now we're in the second furnace. Now, first things first, on the very bottom level, we have our rune with the crystal, or valve with the crystal. So again, want to make sure we get that right off the hop. From here, we're going to want to start heading up. Alright, now I find it easier to just sometimes kill these fire elementals rather than trying to go around them. Kill that one too. Alright. So this first bit, we want to cross the kind of little pipe to get over here. Now, as you see, we got 2 acid jets and an air jet pushing us back towards the ladder. Now that can be a pain. Now the trick is, if we actually walk to the very end, we can walk on this pipe here and just jump right here, bypassing all of that. At the top here, we do have a valve which will turn off those traps. When it does, it spawns an enemy out of that pipe. So just be prepared for that. From here, we want to head up the pipes here and across. There's another method that some people do. Another method that some people do, which actually they just jump straight up. They jump from here, which was at the beginning. They'll jump over to the pipe here, up top, up, and up. I unfortunately don't have the jump for that, but you'll see some people that are able to make those, which really does speed up the time it takes. So you might even jump to the, you know, and yeah. So it is a little bit tricky, but you'll see some people that are able to do that one. Again, I generally don't. I'll just take a little bit of extra time and run around. Alright. From here, again, just follow the tunnel, or the pathway. You get to here. Now, it does shoot an acid jet out of here. Just wait, time it, go through. And then it does have our path. So the way we need to go is across this one here. As you see, lots of acid jets. Whereas this path, it's only got the one here. Now, if you have the jump, you can just jump across here. Pull the valve. While you're pulling this valve, you're actually safe from that fire elemental. They just hit the pipes. Now, if you have the jump, you can actually head back to here, jump up, and grab the ledge. If you don't, you will need to hop back down and come up and around again. So, just be warned. But that is the last time that you would be in that type of situation. Alright, so let's just kill these fire elementals. Remnant. Alright, from here, again, you want to cross, and then you want to head up that ladder. Now, I want to point out there is a gap. So if you just run straight up the ladder, you will fall. You do need to hop and jump up. Alright, once up top, you can choose to either go across that pipe there, or you can just jump on this one here. Either way, you need to climb up. Once up top, we'll see our acid jets again. So we need to go across them. Now it does put, like for that one there, it does have a little nice air jets. Ooh, as you see, acid really hurts. Excuse me. Now there are two ways across. We can either actually, once we get here, jump straight up, or we can go across. So I'm going to show you the going across. Ooh, lucked out on there. So you head across, you just walk up and around, and you come here. So we got two valves this time, or a lever and a valve. The valve will turn off the acid jet. The lever will lock them into place. So before I do that, I'm just going to kill this champion. See if we get some more remnants. We did not. Alright.
A barrier surrounds the elementals.
So this room here, because of the amount of fire elementals that are in here, if you are looking to get your conquest, this is one area that I definitely recommend spending a little bit of time in. Because we got 1, 2, there's 3, there's another one over there, 4, there should be another one. Yeah, there's 2 down there, 2 there, and that one there. So there's a few of them in this room. So this is definitely one of the spots, but again, it can just be boring to sit here and just kill fire elementals. Alright, from here, we're technically done in this room. However, again, we do have the ladders leading up. But that is an optional up there. As you see, it does just have a chest. So I will go over there and show you how to get there. So from this point where we just turned off the fire elementals, we can hop down to the pipe. Here again, we want to cross here. And again, it has one of those little nubs sticking out of the wall. This one's a little bit easier because if you come from this angle, it's kind of more straight on for you, making it a little easier to land on, but still it is a pain in the butt to see that in the dark. Then just hop on the little walkway and up. So at the top, as you can already see the shadow of the guy there, there are actually a few casters up top. Now again, these ones are all the divine casters and really like laying on that hold monster or hold person. Now, if you don't have freedom of movement, you gotta work very fast because they suck, put it bluntly. So we have freedom of movement, so we're gonna cast that. They do still cast a like searing light spell, so it is annoying, as well as uh, some negative energy spells as well. Alright, so once they're dead, loot your chests. Just more free loot. From here, if you come up this point, or even if you choose to after you pull the levers, you're done, you can leave this furnace room. Our next objective is to reset the power breakers. So if you remember from earlier when we were heading from the first furnace, the trick was cross over, don't cross over, and then cross over again. So now that we're finished the second furnace, we do not cross over. We just keep heading up. So as you see, we did get hit with an 85. That is generally a bigger hit. Normally, as you see, 7. So they do have some safe spots here. Basically, anywhere that's not on the walkway itself is a safe point. So I'm just gonna pop here for a moment and give myself a top up. Well, more so can have my hireling give me a top up. A few more levels though, I'll have my reconstruction and healing won't be an issue. Self-healing won't be an issue anymore. Of course you can like always just time them and just completely avoid the traps, but honestly it's easier to just run. So we don't want to cross over. Just keep going up. And here we go.
An engraving on the wall reads, "To the main."
Now this room here, kind of interesting. So each of these pillars has a whole bunch of levers and a whole bunch of traps on them. Now the way that you're supposed to do this room is you're supposed to go up and pull these levers. Eventually you'll pull the correct ones, and it'll turn off the trap, as well as drop the barrier around the lever there. So that's the way you're supposed to do this. It is a little tricky because, again, lots of traps. However, there is a trick if you actually just run to the end, to the lever here. If you hop up and you're a little off center here, so right about here, you can actually reach in and pull the lever through the barrier. So that's definitely not intended. And at the time of this video, that is the method that still does work. Again, you want to be up top and then a little off center. You can reach in, pull it. And that turns off the lightning. Now there is a little hidden room off to the side here, right there. Now if you have true sight, which I happen to have, it'll show up the door. The other way is you can actually just go around pulling all these levers if you don't have true sight, and eventually that side door will open. Now right inside we do have a couple of ooze, as well as a named troglodyte caster. Now he does give experience, so I definitely recommend just popping your head in there, taking him out. As well, we also have a loot chest. Now, I want to point out that probably about 9 times out of 10, maybe even more than that, this chest is free and clear. However, sometimes they like to mess with you and actually put a trap in this room. Now, the trap is actually avoidable. Now, again, I want to point it out for the odd chance, because you might do this, 3-4 times, never run into it. Heck, I think this is probably about my 7th run where I never ran into this trap. But it is here. So it is a jet style trap that ends from this wall shooting forward. So if you just run in and you loot the chest straight on, you will get hit. However, if you come from the side here and just inch your way forward and open the chest, where you're standing here, you will never be hit by the trap. It'll just go basically in the path, and then you can just exit hugging the wall. You'll never get hit by that trap. You can disable this one though. I believe the trap box is right here on this side. If not, it's on that side. Either way, it's right next to the trap. You can always just give it a search to see if it's up, if you have the trapping ability before you open the chest. From here, we want to exit. Now this is where it gets a little bit more tricky, because we're no longer heading up, but we're not actually heading to the furnace just yet. So for this one, we actually want to head down and land on this platform there. So we're just going to head up and jump,
to the main breaker room,
which actually takes us back to the very beginning of the quest. Now our next room, the main control room, is actually just basically below us here. So we can hop down, not this level, but the one right below it. And here we go. We also have a shrine just around the corner. Alright, so this one here, we do have some guys kind of hiding right around the corner. Oh man, I keep tabbing out. Yeah, one thing with the arty, and if you know a little bit about computers, I keep running into an issue. I do have a button on my keyboard which actually disables the feature, so it doesn't tab me out. But I use Alt to charge the rune arm and Tab to target enemies. So sometimes in the middle of battle, I end up pushing Alt Tab together, and if you know about computers, you know that'll just tab you out. So I kept getting a window pop up of my other, like my OBS, which is what I use to record these videos here for you guys. Alright, let's bring out some fire. So as you can see, oozes split, and it can be annoying because every time it splits, it has a chance to spawn in Reapers. That being said, it also has the ability to spawn in champions, which is what I like, because though the Reapers are annoying, those remnants are totally worth it. And with all those champions, not a single remnant. Oh, nope. One single remnant. Alright, so let's grab some spell points back. Okay, oh, no, we got 2. Alright. So right here. Oh no, not this tunnel, the other tunnel. Okay. Alright, so around the corner we just have a few troglodytes protecting their eggs. again, bust them up, and optional complete.
Easy slime, the last troglodyte
Alright,
egg
so
rookie.
this room, we have
Breeding grounds are
a few
destroyed.
puzzles to actually solve. As well, we also have some enemies running around the outside. Now, they actually keep respawning in these enemies. So this is another area that you can sit around for a little bit, getting some kills. I also want to point out, as you notice with the enemy coming up behind us, as we actually enter that room, it is going to spawn in enemies behind us. So we'll spawn in enemies down these tunnels and all the way at the entrance there. So just be aware that once you come in here, it does spawn in behind you, so it's not a clear path anymore. So the objective of these puzzles are simple. It's just light the 3 circles at the end. Actually, we want to go this way. So like so. Now, another thing I'd like to point out, these ooze can be really, really annoying for this puzzle, as if they die on the puzzle itself, as you see, it does make it a little bit hard to see these symbols. Another thing to point out, once you complete the puzzle, if you turn it off, it's turned off. So you want to make sure that they're all lit, otherwise you're going to have to just keep going in this room. Alright, here. Now, as you see, most of them are kind of pre-set up. I'm just going to toss another one here because I hate the caster. Making it so that you don't have to turn too many. Break that one off the puzzles. Alright, here. So we need to go. Okay, so it's... No, it is that way. There we go. And again, it might just take you a little bit of time to figure them out. I'm generally a lot quicker at doing these puzzles. It's been a long time. And there we go. So once all of them are completed, the giant cube in the center lights up on all its sides here. Let's take this guy out. So sometimes what it's handy to have, if you have a group here, you can have either multiple people working on these puzzles, or you can have one person working on the puzzle and then just everybody else protecting that person. Alright, so once we've lit up all 4 of those puzzles, we can exit as well. It does mention we are heading to the bilge pumps now. So again, we just gotta watch out for those guys that spawned in behind us. And there should be one more. There it is. Alright. So from here, there's not much we can go down. So we're just gonna head up. And we're wanting the room just literally above the one we were just in. So here's our furnaces.
An engraving on the wall reads,
and we want to just head up. So there was the room we were just in, and here's the room we want to be in now.
An engraving on the wall reads, to the build.
So pretty much the easy way to remember this quest is from the beginning, you go up until you can't go up. Then you hop down to the bottom right hand corner, which is right here. From there, you want to head complete the furnace room. Then you want to head up until you can cross over, and then you keep going up until you get to the security room. Once you're done the security room, again, same thing, bottom right corner. From there, we're going to head up. You don't cross over, you just keep going up until you get into that room with all that lightning. Do that room. From there, you want to head down just a little bit across from where you at so that you can get back to the beginning of the quest. From there, you want to hop down 2 levels and you're at the room you need to be at, so directly below the start. From there, which is start is just above us here, so from there you want to head up 1 level and you're at the bilge pumps. So it sounds complicated, but honestly, once you've run it a couple times and you just keep remembering, from the furnace I cross over, from the furnace I don't cross over. If you remember that simple little trick, it will really help you out with navigating this quest. Alright, so as we come here, we do have a hidden door with a shrine, which I am going to use after we complete this little part here. Around the corner, we have just a couple more enemies to kill, including one of them being a caster, and a few more breakables. So I'm just gonna... And this room, super simple. Pull the lever, we're done.
Water begins
That's
to
it.
drain from the pit. Bilge pumps are activated.
Alright, so here, hop in, and just quickly use our shrine. Again, from here, we want to go down to the bottom right, but because we're almost at the bottom, in this case, we don't want to hop down because we're at the bottom. Or at least the bottom of the ramps here. What we're going to do is just walk down the ramp back to the furnace room.
An engraving on the wall reads, "To the bilge control room."
So here's our furnace room. And we're on to our third and final furnace. And this one here is the one at the beginning of the quest where it did say we might need 3 or more people. Hirelings may not suffice. This here is the room that they are referring to. Alright. So, first thing to note is we have a few levers as well. I'm going to have some guys spawning behind me. Alright, so I did forget about these guys temporarily. Alright, no rems. So yeah, right here, as you see, it does hit you with a lot of enemies. So you have a few guys that spawn in there. As well, you get 4 oozes dropping from each of these little sectors there. And yeah, they're just a pain in the butt. Alright, so there's a lot of valves on the bottom. The one that we need, again, is the one with the crystal. That is our third one. So we've pulled that. It's now opened up our optional boss at the end. Or again, we can do it right after we've done this furnace here. So in here, just a couple more guys on the bottom. Now, some of these enemies on the bottom will actually respawn if you take too long in this room. So if you have anybody staying at the bottom to pull levers, it can get a little bit risky. Alright, so the one I use here is this valve here. So I actually pull my hireling to the valve there. That way he can pull it when I need him to pull it. The other one here is this valve here. Now this valve will create an air jet right there, which is meant to throw you up. Now, it normally only pops you up to those like pipes here. However, sometimes it kind of bugs out and it'll send you all the way up to that pipe way up there, which is actually where we need to be. So some people, they'll just sit here, pull the valve, get shot up, and if I don't go up all the way, come down, try it again, and they'll keep going for that in the hopes that it's going to shoot them all the way up top. I don't like to wait that long. I find it sometimes you can get up right away, other times you won't. So I don't like to wait on that chance. I'll just get shot up this one level. I can hug the wall and walk across this pipe here, all the way to the end, and hop down. From here, there are a couple of enemies that will spawn in, and there's that. Then I have my hireling at the bottom, who can now pull the valve, which will shoot this one up, allowing me to just hop up here, either land on or grab this pipe. So not that first one, the second one way up at the top here. And now I'm at the top. So while that guy is still sitting there trying to pull that lever over and over and over, I'm already here. In here we have our two fire Ellies. Just gonna take them out. And there we go. So from here, just kind of want to walk across. We need to get up on that platform there so we can hop to this here, and then either hop up or grab that and pull ourselves up. Pull our lever.
Barriers
We are now
surround the
done
elemental,
this room.
channeling their essences
But
into
like
the
the other
furnace.
one, just over there we have a way to get up top. So from this last lever, if you hop over it here, you can hop down, pull that valve. So this valve here, again, it shoots an air jet up, and you want to head facing the wall here, inside. So here we go. Inside, land. Now we have two chests. Now, because it looks too good to be true, it is. As soon as you open either one of these chests, it will spawn in a fight. So we'll just pick this one here. There's our fight. I always just deal with the fight first rather than the loot because, hey, loot's not going anywhere. Once you kill them, as you see, one wasn't optional. Awesome. Go ahead and grab your loot. There is only the one fight, so it doesn't matter which chest you open, it spawns it. But once it's spawned, feel free to grab your loot. Once you've done that, you've done everything in this furnace. Time to leave. Now at this point here, if you have Dimension Door, the spell, you can use that to... Ooh, we got those respawns here. You can use that to teleport yourself to the very beginning, as we need to go right back to the start of the quest again. But if you don't, then you can just employ that crossover method again. So first time we crossed over, second time we didn't, third time we want to cross over again. So here we are. We're going to head up. And then when we get to just right here above us, we're going to cross over. So here we are. Here's the point. We're going to cross over and keep heading up. So here is the beginning of the quest. It's where we came in. From here you just want to head up. In case you use D-Door, you want to head up to this room and just cross the bridge here. Here we have our final room, which is our intake
Engraving on the wall reads,
control room.
to the control room.
Now, this room
The intake
can be a
room
little
has been
dangerous,
turned
actually.
into a troglodyte spawning ground.
So, first off, I always sit and I break all these breakables. Even though we now have ransack, I still break the rest, just because it's less things I'm targeting on. Alright. So, the other thing to note is we have two levers behind each of those waterfall, as well as a valve just over there. It's out of reach, it's not targeting it, but it's there. Alright. So, the moment we get down to the bottom, it's going to actually spawn in a few people at the bottom, as well as it can spawn people on these ledges here. So I do just want to point that out. I actually fight the enemies up here because the people on the ledges can't hit you when you're up and back here. So I'm just going to hop in the water, touch the water, and exit immediately. From here I'll just wait for the people to come up the stairs, take them out. Hireling, get back here. Alright, so that's those people there. Now, as you hear, we do have casters on both sides. Now, there is a trick to these guys. If you hug this wall here, and just kind of go so that they're between the pillar post here and the wall, they actually can't hit you. As you see, he's trying to cast that spell. He just keeps hitting the floor. But I can hit him. So, there's that. Once you kill the first guy, it always spawns in a second one. And again, same thing. Kind of go a little bit further back. His spells will hit the floor. Well, you can actually attack him. So we're going to do the same thing here. Back up here. So as you see, can hit us, we can hit him. So there's a bit of a safe spot. If we walk too close, though, he will be able to hit us. Now that we've killed those groups of people, we're clear to come down here. There's that valve there. Now, what I want to point out is as we approach these levers, it's also going to spawn in another group of enemies. This group, however, will just spawn around from these pipes here. So what I'll do is I just walk up and I'll cast a turret. So we're not quite there. Step in a little bit closer. There they are. Again, I don't actually pull these levers just yet. Another trick that I use, depending on how I'm feeling that day, is I can actually you can send your hireling in to pull these levers, which will still spawn in the enemies as the hireling approaches. And this will just make sure that you're in a safe position to deal with the enemies. But if you're prepared and know they're there, it's really not that difficult. It's just 4 troglodytes, sometimes 5. They spawn pretty much on you, and that's the danger there. So there's those 2. It also has one more wave once you kind of cross the threshold here. Here they are. And again, same thing. Can be a little dangerous again because you're now caught in the center of them, and they can kind of flank you there. But if you know they're there, you can prepare yourself, not a big deal. Once you're done killing, that's pretty much it. You want to put on your Voice of the Master or any, use your potions, and then you just pull the levers here. So this one gives you a lot of time because you can finish when you want, not when you kill something. So you can kill everything, then put on your XP based gear. Once you've pulled those 2, you can pull this valve. Pulling the valve completes the quest. 44, almost 45,000, so a massive amount of experience. As you see, it did take us almost an hour to go through this, But I want to point out there are ways to speed that up. If you have someone who knows this quest well enough, um, myself, for example, I can usually get this quest done in about a half an hour if I have a good group though for it, where I have someone in the furnace room just already waiting there. I don't actually have to hop down to him every time. That saves a lot of time, and actually the fastest I've ever run this quest was with a buddy of mine, Conteus, who actually joined us earlier in a couple of our earlier videos when we were out in
An engraving
Necropolis.
on the wall reads,
The fastest we've
to the
actually ever run
intake
this
control
quest was, I
room.
think, about 11 minutes. So if you stop to think, we got essentially 45,000 experience in 11 minutes. Like, that's just a lot of experience real fast. Now, as you'll notice, I didn't recall out. The reason for that is we have that optional that we opened up. Now, the reason I leave him to the very end is he's actually at the very, very bottom, and it takes a decent amount of time to fall down, as it is a long way down. Now, the floor at the bottom is lava, so if you don't have fire resistance, aim for these little kind of blocks or piece of land. As well, I also want to point out that they do have two great oozes down here. So one's on this side, one will be on this side. Now these oozes also respawn. So if you have multiple people in your group, you can actually send one down right here at the beginning of the quest, and he can just sit down here, killing these ooze back to back to back for the entirety of the quest. And usually, using that method, you will get your conquest bonus before you complete. Once in there, as you see, there's our 3 crystals. We can actually come on in. Now this ooze at the end is a really rough ooze for anybody who uses any type of elemental damage, because elemental damage he will either be 100% immune to, such as fire, or it will heal him. As you see, even holy itself, he is reduced to. So he is a really annoying boss to kill if you are relying on elemental damage. Once you kill him, you have a chest here. Now another good thing, minus the fact that he's worth, 2,500 experience, you can actually drop a rare item out of his chest. Unfortunately, I don't have enough gems to re-roll. It is an item called Muck's Doom. Now, this is, if you are a melee character, you'll notice while you're fighting ooze, your weapon can break, and it tends to break often. This is a one-handed club that doesn't take any additional damage from ooze, and actually doing some additional, as it does have like ooze bane and stuff like that. So it helps you kill the ooze while taking no additional weapon damage, like weapon deterioration damage from them. And that's it. That is the pit. So it takes a bit of time, which is why people hate it. However, when you have a good group and someone who knows this quest, you can get it done relatively quickly. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed my in-depth dive into the pit, and hopefully this helps you guys running through the quest and helps you navigate this one. This is one of my favorite quests, so the more people who know it, I love teaching people this quest. Anyway, thank you guys for joining. Have a good one all.